Hey, Smita. Uh-oh. I think my volume's off because I saw your mouth move, but I didn't hear anything. Oh, no, my volume's good. Oh, you're on mute.
I am. Oh, hi. Is it just the two of us?
It is for now, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, no, so because normally I don't run this one. This is a Bob class, but Bob had a doctor's appointment, so he's not able to run it today. So I was going to kind of open it up to whoever was on here anyways, but there was a couple things that I was going to talk about as far as like showing etiquette and then kind of an idea of if even if you don't have buyers that are looking, how you can get out to see homes and things like that. So.
Oh, that's cool. Hey,
Yeah, if
okay.
you want, we can start with that, and then after that, if it's still just you and I, I'll open it up to see if there's anything else specifically that you want to talk about, and we can go from there.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay. And I might just be eating some breakfast too while
You're fine.
while this is going on. So, yeah.
Yes, no, you're fine. Eat whatever you need to eat. I completely understand that. We have busy lives, and we can only eat when, or we have to make it work however we can. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all
All
right.
right.
Well, I'm
Well,
gonna go ahead and share my screen. Actually, I guess I don't need to share quite yet. But so the first thing I wanted to talk about was etiquette. So, and that's going to be etiquette for, if you're holding an open house, if you're doing showings with your buyers, and kind of just things that you want to always kind of consider there. So, we'll start with showing. So the first thing with showings that you always want to kind of, some good etiquette things is usually it's going to be best practice to once you schedule the showing to reach out to the agent, the listing agent just to introduce yourself. If you never know if your buyers are actually going to be interested in the property to put an offer in, but at least you introduce yourself, and that's already going to set you a step above a lot of other agents that they just schedule a showing and then go show up. So for sure, reach out to the agent, just say, hey, introduce yourself and just say, hey, I've got some interested buyers and we're going to go see the property and I'll let you know how it goes afterwards. And you leave it at that. Or you could even open it up to, is there anything you can tell me about this specific property? Any issues or any motivating factors for the seller? Like what could, make our offer stronger should we decide to put in an offer? So you can kind of really talk to that agent and get a good feeling for it. And that's going to help you in the long run. Now, as far as the showing itself, so I recommend, and you obviously can't completely control your client, but I recommend to not have either your client or you park in the driveway of the home that you're going to show. And the reasoning behind that is, like at a minimum, just don't ever park in the driveway. Obviously, like I said, you can't control your clients, but the big thing there is one. What if they have like an oil leak or something and it leaks on the driveway and then you have to pay for it to get it removed? Uh, well, hopefully, your buyers will be understanding that it's their fault. But if they're like, oh no, like you're the one showing us the home and you didn't tell us and blah blah blah, well then it falls on you, or regardless, it's either going to be you or the clients that have to take care of it. So, little things like that, like always just park on the street next to the driveway. Oftentimes, like what I've found, like, again, you can't control your client. So what I've found is I'll park on the street and then they usually pull into the driveway, and you go from there. Now, the other thing is once you get in the home, no matter what, even if it doesn't say in the showing instructions, you want to make sure you either take your shoes off or you wear booties. Now, there are some caveats to that, I guess. So, if you're going to see a fixer-upper that's just already, beat up and, the carpet's stained and things like that, and your shoes aren't muddy, of course, then yeah, I mean, if it's not stipulated to take off your stuff, then go ahead and just walk through that with your clients. You can kind of use common sense there. But I think the big thing is if it's a nice property or a property that, seem to be well kept, as far as the cleaning and whatnot, you don't want to get that dirty, and you definitely don't want your clients to get that dirty. And that's something you could tell them beforehand, like, hey, just so you know, we're gonna have to take off our shoes or wear booties when we get there. So if you plan on taking off your shoes, make sure you're not wearing boots that have 15 different buckles and things like that. It's just, makes it easier. Now, as you're walking through the home, um, to make it better for your clients, you typically want to try to turn all the lights on. Now, I'm not saying you have to show up, 30 minutes before to go run through the house and turn everything on and open all the windows. Now that's what you want to do for an open house, but I'll get to that later. So as far as the showing itself, as you're going through the rooms, turn on the lights for your clients. I like to personally kind of walk through with them, but I am not necessarily going to be. I'm going to let them have the natural conversation about things and let them ask me questions. And then there's little things that I'll look for as I'm walking through. Like obviously you want to kind of just keep an eye on if you can notice any, foundation issues or cracked windows or whatever it might be, sort of cosmetically. But you also have to remind them that some of those issues are cosmetic and it's not really something to worry about. So, um,
Um,
yes.
I was curious if it's the first time that you're going to see the home, like, and you're meeting the buyer there, how much earlier do you arrive so that you walk through the home first, I assume?
No, I personally don't.
Oh,
I
you
don't
don't?
like for a
Okay.
showing, I don't walk through the home first. So say we have a showing schedule from 10:30 to 11. What I'll do is try to show up, 5 to 10 minutes before, just because I don't necessarily want my clients waiting on me. And then that gives me a quick chance when I first get there to run through the details so that, like when I first walk through, I'll go through the details of the home. This is a 3 bed, 3 bath, this many square feet. And then anything like in the MLS printout, it'll tell you under private remarks if there's anything specific. Like it might say something like, seller knows AC is bad, but they're planning on getting it replaced in July or something like that. So then you come up with that kind of information. And as you do it more, you see what information to actually look at. But you could go through everything on the list if you wanted to, and just, as you're walking around, tell them everything. That's what I did when I first started. Because the fact of the matter is, they probably don't necessarily care about everything, but maybe something will stick out to them that they're like, oh, okay. Um, but yeah, I show up probably like if it's 10:30 showing, I'll try to get there around 10:20, 10:25. Um, Again, just so they're not waiting on me. And technically, like they could show up early too, but technically we don't have the property until 10:30. And that's one big thing that I will recommend. If you have a scheduled showing
Oh,
at 10:30, make sure if you're getting get there early, reach out to the listing agent to let them know or see if that's okay. Or if you're going to be late, you definitely want to reach out and let them know as well. I know that that's a big thing that many agents don't do. They don't reach out to just say, and like on a vacant property, that's not as bad, but if it's a seller that lives there and they're leaving the home for the showing specifically, yeah, you want to let them know because then you're just going to piss off the seller if you don't show up for, like 30, 45 minutes late. The seller's planning on already coming back in 15 minutes and you just got there. So you definitely want to, I think the biggest thing is communicate, and you'll already set yourself above a lot of agents just by communicating during the showings, before the showing, after the showing. Um, don't be scared to communicate. For instance, I had a client probably, I don't know, 6 months or so ago where we went through a home and I just somehow nudged a big, what looked like a family heirloom vase that was next to the fireplace. It bumped off my leg and it fell and shattered. And so that was not fun, but I let the agent know right away. She said, "Thanks for letting me know. That's awesome." The seller said, "Don't worry about it." My buyers ended up putting in an offer on the property, and we ended up going through and closing on that property. And I kept just offering to the sellers, but the sellers were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not important. Don't worry about it." But again, like that, I think is going to be better than if you get into the situation where you don't say anything. And that's the same thing. Like if you're walking through and you see a broken window on a showing, call the agent or let them know in your feedback, hey, there was a broken window, because they might not know that. And that could be something new. And obviously they want to tackle that because they don't want showings to walk through and see that and think like, oh, they're not taking care of the property. So again, I think communication is key anywhere in our industry, but definitely during showings. Plus, the other thing is you don't want to burn a bridge on a showing like that if you're not communicating because down the road you could run into the same agent who is either has a buyer on your listing or you're going to their listing again. So I've had that happen where I go to reach out to another agent, and I've already talked to them before, like a year and a half before. So it happens, it's out there. But I think that's the biggest thing. And then obviously, like treat the home as if, well, one, you want to make sure that it's the way that it was when you got there is the way it needs to be when you left. So again, like turn on the lights for your clients, but also make sure you're turning the lights off. Um, when you're walking through, you can test out water features and stuff like that. Number one rule, do not use the restroom at these listings when you're showing. And I'll I already have a story. I got a story early on in my days of real estate where I went to go do a showing for my mother-in-law who asked if I could do a showing for a buyer that she had not met yet. We met up in a property up in Bailey, and I broke the rule of don't use the restroom because this person was like, "Oh, please, like I drove 2.5 hours to be up here and I really have to go to the restroom. Is there any way I could use it?" And I was like, you know what? Okay, sure, I'll be nice. Well, they went number two that they didn't tell me. And the worst part was it was a mountain home and the owners had shut off the well. So we couldn't, I heard them sitting there trying to flush after like 10 minutes of being in there, which was already annoying. And the toilet wouldn't flush. And then I knew that I was in a problem. So I learned about how to turn on a well that day. And so you run into those situations where you go through it. But yeah, that's my story of why just don't use the restroom. Make sure you use the restroom before, or if you know if you have to use the restroom, use it afterwards. Same thing for your clients, and that's something maybe you want to disclose before you start showing. Some days, I might have a client where I'm showing them 4 or 5 properties. So if it's all back to back to back, I'm going to say, hey, just so you know, be ready. We can't use restrooms, so make sure you use the restroom before, whatever it might be. Because you just don't want to find yourself in that situation. And then also the number, like as you're walking around, you can kind of talk about the house a little bit, but you want to be very careful about actually saying good thing. Well, saying good things is not a bad thing, but don't say bad things. Like, don't crap on the house or don't say like, oh, these people didn't take care of stuff. Like you don't want to do that because again, if your buyers want to put an offer in, you don't want to piss the seller off before you even submitted your offer. And the problem is these days, majority of people have cameras all over their house. And so it's the same thing too when you're leaving a showing. So when you leave the showing and you're leaving with your clients, what I always do with my clients right off the bat before we even show the home is I say, "Hey, don't talk about a whole lot about the house or what you're thinking while we're in there. You can ask me questions and stuff. That's not a problem, but we will discuss it after we get out of the house. We'll walk down the street a little bit and have a conversation there."
Oh, that's yeah. Yeah. It's so okay. Don't crap on or in the house.
Yeah, you know what? I love that. Yes. Don't crap on or in the house. And that's a great rule to live by. And again, like, I don't think it's super gonna hurt you if your buyers say like, oh, I don't really like that window shade because you can change a window shade. But like you definitely don't want to just start crapping on the seller essentially. Now, once you get out, always make sure you lock the door and you leave the key in the lockbox. I know that's stupid, but I've even done it where you put the key in your pocket during the showing and then it just becomes naturally part of your pocket again. And then you go to you lock up, and you just drop it in your pocket again, and you start driving somewhere else, and you realize later that you still have a key on you that shouldn't be on you. So then you have to go drive back and take that back. As quick as possible. Outside of that, that's pretty much showing in a nutshell. Obviously, you'll learn your little things. I like to use showings like if I see something that's different, or I mean, like just for instance, I don't know why this popped on the top of my head, but one of the showings we did one time, you walk in and right the first picture you can see hanging above like a closet door, it was 2 bears having a good time with each other, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was really, really weird. And I took a picture of that. And again, like that's okay because I just kind of got that. I didn't get more, like I didn't put the address of the house or anything like that. You don't want to give people where it is exactly. But if you see something like that, take a picture of it, throw it on social media, and it's gonna blow up for you. Um, so yeah, it's just little things like that where you can utilize, some other pieces in there to help build your business as well. Now again, once you are done with the showing, you don't have to do it right away, but by the end of the day, I always recommend make sure you get your showing feedback in so that one, they don't blow you up for the rest of the week trying to get feedback. But usually it's something like, rate the home on a scale of 1 to 5, rate the showing on a scale of 1 to 5. Is your client interested? Yes, no, maybe. And is your client going to write an offer? Yes, no, maybe, or something like that is usually how that's broken down. So just leave feedback. And I mean, even if you don't do the feedback on the showing service, that's fine. Like if you just call the agent to let them know, they're going to appreciate that just as much, but they just want some sort of feedback. And as you get your own listings, you're going to be the same way because you're going to have showings where agents just do not talk to you. They schedule the showing, they won't talk to you before, they don't let you know how it went after. Sometimes they don't even show up and let you know that they didn't show up. So again, there's agents that are not as good as us out there. Um,
So, just a couple of clarifying kind of questions.
yeah,
So whenever there's like, oh, you're running late thing or things that are happening, are you communicating just directly with the listing agent via text or
yeah. Text works, phone call.
okay.
I mean, if it's something that you need an immediate answer, like maybe a lockbox isn't working or something, or if you are running late, I would do a phone call first and then follow up with a text if you don't get a hold of them. But at least you
Okay.
can
Yeah,
then
I
say
don't
you
mind.
did
I'm a
your
phone
job.
talker, which I found. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, I was gonna say at least
Oh,
you can
just
say
whatever
you did your
you do your
job.
job. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I don't have issue like picking up the phone and calling, and I'm kind of it's funny because I was realizing um even with people in my own age, demographic,
Hmm.
how they've developed like this phone anxiety with
Yeah.
um and it's kind of like a big thing that's just like okay, but that was urgent, like I was supposed to go mow the lawn this morning at the American Legion because my kids are in scouts. And
Okay.
luckily I got this lady's text, but she was like, "Oh, you don't need to come. We're going to meet with gas cans and the whole thing." And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of felt like that could warrant a phone call. Um,
I agree with you. I also do agree though that I think talking on the phone, making eye contact when you're talking to someone in person, like all those kind of things have been lost. When someone rings the doorbell, it used to be so exciting when we were kids, and now someone rings the doorbell and it's like, who's knocking on my door right now? Like, how dare they? And like, it's funny how all that's kind of changed. But no, I would say do a phone call for sure, especially something that's urgent. And then after that, follow up with a text or an email. But you'll notice too, like a lot of agents will respond better with text, and most of the time their answering machines will say something like, "Hey, I'm not here right now, but if you shoot me a text, I can probably answer." Something like that. So, it's the agent life. But again, I think just to cover yourself, you could say, "Hey, I called. Here's my text message now."
yeah.
Then they can't come after you like, "Oh, why didn't you let me know?" Well, I did let you know actually. So,
Oh, that's true that yeah, I know. Like, you tried to say you got I don't know, yeah, when you call people and then you leave a voicemail like yours, I didn't get it until 3 days later. I'm like, what the heck is going on with my phone? But
yeah,
you know,
yeah. No,
so I get
I
it.
I agree. So yeah, that's showing in a nutshell. And again, you can always call me if you have questions, especially if it's right before a showing and you really want to, something popped up. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. But I would not stress yourself with showings. Like really, as long as you treat the home, like the way you would treat your home, and just make sure that you keep it the same way you found it. You're not going to have issues. And again, like the whole watch out for talking, like that's not meant to scare you. That's just because I've been or heard of those situations where you it can be a sticky situation and you just don't want to find yourself in there. So to eliminate that, you don't talk about the house there. You can walk out of the house and then talk about it. Same thing though, like you don't want to just hop on the front porch and start talking about it because most people have these Ring cameras now that they can monitor. So you want to back off from the house a little bit. Also, that gives you an ability to kind of look at the roof if you can notice anything up on the roof that looks kind of off or, any siding issues or things like that. Like it just kind of opens up your eyes from the grander perspective as well when you're like, hey, let's take a step back and go talk over here. So,
Okay, sounds good. I guess I just had a couple more questions so when you talk about the MLS,
mhm.
you're talking about RE Colorado.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess should I should I be working on getting on that now system? Because that's one system I haven't gotten on yet.
So through KW Command, you have the ability to look at listings and you have the ability to kind of see the information on listings. You also have the ability to set your contacts up on saved searches, basically an auto email so that they can see any properties and any new properties that are within their criteria, and it'll be sent in an email for them, basically. Now, I don't recommend getting RE Colorado until you actually have a buyer that's ready to go start looking at homes. Because that's how you'll schedule your showing as well through the MLS, which I'll get into here in a second. But
Oh, okay.
it's like $62 a month. So if you don't have a buyer that's actually looking in the MLS or that's actually ready to go, like they're getting either they're in the process of getting pre-approved or they already are pre-approved, there's no point in paying for that. I mean, yes, you could pay for it, but I guess, obviously when you're first getting started and you've already spent money on activating your license and all this other stuff, um, I don't necessarily think you have to do it. Now, if money's not a factor, yeah, go ahead and get started so you can get your feet wet in RE Colorado a little bit because it is a little bit of a different system, but it's also very easy to use. And again, same thing. Like if you once you get into it and you're like, I don't know where to even start. How do I get a client on an auto email search? Reach out to me and I can walk you through it. Once you do that kind of stuff in RE Colorado once, it's very, very easy and intuitive to where you're like, oh, okay, I know how to do it now. So.
Okay. I didn't get to that part with Elizabeth yet. We went through the contacts portion
Yeah,
and how to like, add tags and, make sure that you're like cultivating your contact base. So, okay, that's good to know. So then the MLS is essentially, or RE Colorado is kind of like connected to Command for,
Yeah, so Command will pull all the listings off of all the MLSs nationwide, essentially.
oh, okay,
It
it's
talks to
nationwide.
all of them. So that's why, you could set up a saved search for somebody that lives in Wisconsin and they
Mm,
can be updated with the area around them. So that's the one nice thing for sure. But like with Command, with our KWLS, you don't have the ability to schedule a showing straight through Command. You would have to go to RE Colorado to schedule a showing, or you go to the actual showing service, which is Showing Time or Broker Bay. But I'll show you how to access or how to do that through the MLS here in a minute. But yes. Pretty much as if it's just for viewing listings or to get your feet wet in an auto search or an auto email save search thing, you can do that stuff in Command without having to spend the $62 a month.
okay, cool.
Any other questions on that piece?
I think that you're probably about to answer it, so so I'll wait.
All right, sorry. No, so we'll dive in. Let me share my screen. Um, so I already have the matrix open up, but technically you go to RE Colorado first. Once you get signed in, if you haven't joined, you hit join here, and then that's when you put in all your personal information and the market center information, and it'll get you all set up there. Can you see my screen? Okay. So then once you get set up and you have a login, then you would hit pro login. I have my stuff saved just to make it easier because I can never remember this password. And the username is always something weird, but it's basically your ID number for RE Colorado. So mine's 55052268, and you'll remember that after you put it in so many times. So then once you get here, this is where you can go to other different places. Like Realist is going to be like public record sort of thing. You can find out tax information and stuff like that. But Matrix is where we live out of for the actual MLS. So once you click Matrix, it's going to look like this one here. So I'm just going to delete all this to clear up some room. And this is what it looks like on this end now. So this is your standard RE Colorado. Now you have your quick guides here where you could click on like new listings, and that's going to show you the new listings that have popped up recently. And it's always line by line or line by line order. Now, if you come back out here, maybe you want to actually look for a specific property. Well, you can come in here and you can type in a quick search for an address. You can type just the name and number, whatever it might be, and then, excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. You type in the name there. You can put as much information in here as you want, and you can put as little information in here as you want. But like if you know there's an active property that starts with 5454, and that's when you're looking for it, don't go crazy. Just type in 5454 and hit search, and it's probably going to be up here at the top because it would be active. Active listings will typically always show up first. So then if we go back here, now maybe we want to build out a search for somebody. So I'll walk through how to do that here. I'll also show you how to do it in Command at the end of this as well. But in here, so I know they're residential. Perfect. So then, um, this is basically, sorry, what am I doing here? This is what I was looking for. All right, so if you hit search residential, this is going to pull up all your criteria stuff now. So maybe I know they're interested in active and any listings coming soon. Now keep in mind that here in Colorado, any listings coming soon can only be coming soon for 48 hours. So they will be active typically pretty quickly after they're coming soon. Now you can choose a starting point here or choose a city or a subdivision, county, however you want to do that. Maybe I know they're single family residents only. They're not interested in condos or townhomes, so I would just select single family. Come over here. Maybe I know that they want at least 3 beds, so I'll hit 3 plus 3 bedrooms. And then I know they want at least 2 bathrooms, so I'll hit 2 plus there. Now, you can add additional fields at the bottom, like, oh, maybe they said they wanted a pond or some sort of river or whatever to go through the property. You can come in here and do that. But here is the one thing that I always recommend. Don't get too specific on here because the problem is, again, there's not agents that are as good as we are. And when they input these listings, they don't input them correctly. And so if they don't say that this property has a pond, it's not going to pop up on the search because it's not listed with a pond. And I don't want you to miss out on that property because it fits everywhere else in the criteria except for the pond, only because the listing agent didn't do it properly. So that's where it's almost easier. You just keep it bland and generic, like I always do. Property subtype, I always do bed and bath. Maybe they have a square feet minimum or a total lot minimum. But I don't get anything crazier outside of that. Let them weed out the ones that don't work, and then they'll tell you the ones that they're interested in, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, it
as you
does.
go,
And you find
oh, go
that,
ahead.
sorry, Chris,
No,
I just want to say, do
interrupt
you
me
find
anytime.
too, okay, do you find too that like, I don't know, to me in the big picture, like maybe a pond is a small thing to have, to really want if if a property has like everything else. So you still, even though you would tell the people like, hey, this one doesn't have a pond, but it does hit like all the other things you want to see. Um, and maybe would you like to see it? Or I think, it's worth seeing and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And, like people maybe tend not to be as, I don't know, attached to the non-structural thing that they thought they were.
Yeah. No, I mean I would agree. Like I think the big thing is that kind of falls into the way of we're just the facilitator. Like as much as we want to maybe make decisions for them, for our clients, we can't. It's not on us to make decisions. It's not on us to be emotional about things. So you'll find that your buyers will be emotional about items that they shouldn't be. So I always leave it open to them to where I'll say, hey, what's your criteria? And again, they might say we want a big backyard. Well, you could come in here and figure out some way to put in the criteria big backyard. But what I explain to them is, hey, like I just explained to you, listing agents don't always input the information correctly, and I'd rather not miss out on that perfect property. So we're going to keep it a little more open, and you'll probably be sent properties that just have no interest to you, and you just move on right past them. It's better
Okay.
to get the property, get the pictures of the property and weed it out, just
Uh,
saying, oh, I don't want it. Yep, we know we don't want this one, than to not get something that could potentially work for your buyers.
oh, I see. So that's great. So you're kind of like making a whole basket, a digital basket of them to look through the pictures. So it's not like they're even wasting their time going physically
No,
to a
yeah, this is
property if they
like
say,
like
hey,
toilet reader material. Like when they're bored and they're sitting on their phone or something, they can sit there and just scroll through what's there. And then they can even heart properties that they like, and then you can see those properties so that you can be like, hey, I saw you heart that property. Did you want me to schedule a showing?
oh, okay, cool.
And you'll have some
Okay.
people that heart it just because they kind of like it, but they're not ready to actually go see it yet. And then you have some people that are like, hey, I'm going to build you out a list by hearting everything that I want to go see. So check back on Friday and build out my list for me for showings, essentially. So it kind of just depends based on who you're working with. But let's dive into this
Okay.
next step here. So say we're oh yeah, so we're happy with the criteria, except we haven't done the location. And the reason I say that is because I think the location, again, you can put in city and stuff, but city boundaries and county boundaries and all that stuff gets really weird. So what I like to do is I'll come in and I'll hit map search, and it's going to start out really out there, but maybe they're interested kind of right around our office. But they've also told me, hey, I don't want to get up to Stanley Lake. That's too far north for me. And they said I don't want to go, over to Applewood, and definitely nothing south of I-70. Okay, well, that sounds a lot harder than it really is to set up. So what we do is you have these options. You could draw a rectangle, you could draw a polygon. I typically use the freehand polygon pencil, and I'll click on that, and then I'll scroll in to kind of make whatever area I'm going to highlight still in my picture. But like I said, I know they don't want to go to Stanley Lake, so we'll make sure. Hold on, I messed up. I forgot I clicked that. I was trying to drag it up a little bit. So we'll make sure that we're centered with the area that we're gonna about to do. So then I'll hit the freehand polygon, and I'm gonna say, all right, well, I know they don't want to get up to Stanley Lake, or they said, we could be up to it, but not past it. All right, great. And they said they don't want to go to Applewood, which is gonna be down in this area. And they said nothing south of I-70, and they want to, let's just say they want to be done here on Wadsworth. So if that's the parameters, then I would click here, and then it's just a click and hold, and you can draw whatever shape you want. So you could come right across this road, stay then across I-70, but then I know once we get over to this section, we want to shoot back up. But then I did know that they wanted to go out to Ralston Valley because they like Ralston Valley. And we can get a little bit of Layton in there and then come back across under Stanley Lake and meet at the end of our shape. And now it just selected all of the homes that are within the criteria that we've already put in on the other piece of this. So that single family, 3 bed plus, 2 bath plus, all of those homes are already within the criteria. So then you're happy with it. You're like, all right, well, I've got a bunch of results that I can send them. This looks great. I'm very happy. So in order to get them to actually see this list, then all you have to do is you hit save. You'll hit new auto email. You'll select your contact. If you haven't, created your contacts, then you can hit create new contact. And I don't go crazy with adding all the information here. I usually put in, a first name, a last name, and your email address. If there's more than one, you can put two in here, like if they're a husband and wife. You can put two emails in here. And then I changed this because hi, hello, dear, and dear don't sound like me. That's just not me. I normally would say hey. So I'll put custom salutation, and then I type in hey and their first name, comma. I don't put phone or cell. I'm not worried about all that. And then I mean, there's show all fields. You could put in all this information if you want. But again, like you'll find that you already have to put this information in like three other spots. It's not worth it to put it in this spot. So then you'll save them and you'll be able to find them in your list here. Then I always BCC me a copy. Well, let me rephrase that. I used to always BCC me a copy until I realized when you start getting busy with multiple clients and multiple lists like this, you're going to get an email every 5 minutes of a new property that just popped on the market, and that gets kind of annoying. So I don't typically actually do BCC anymore. I actually just I might monitor this search as it's going through, or let them tell me when they see something that interests them. Subject, I usually do something like your personal home search. You could find whatever works for you there, but that's just what I like to use. Now, here's where it gets kind of confusing. So this walks them through basically or this will set them up with a video of how to utilize the client portal, which is all great. However, what I found is it really confuses everyone because they think that that's how you can actually click on the portal to see what's active. And that's not, it's a video, and then they get mad and frustrated and they never go into their portal. So what I always do is I just delete all this stuff, and I just say something like, make sure to click on the client portal below and not the agent portal, as that won't work for you. Let me know if you have any questions or want to adjust the criteria that we discussed. And then I might even put in here something like, here's the criteria that I set up. But when this sends, they'll be able to see all the criteria we set up. It's always right here. It's going to tell them bedroom total is 3 plus, bathroom total is 2 plus, blah, 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 blah. So that's always going to be there. But I like to kind of just let them know as well what the criteria is. Now you also have the recurring email. I don't really change this. This is the one that sends out once there's another property that pops in with their criteria that's active. They get another email that will come up with this thing saying, "Hey, there's a newer updated listing that matches your criteria." I like that. I don't change that. Now, when we get down here, oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Chris, question about the part that you said you don't BCC yourself on because then you're getting an update. So it's like you're talking about like within the search criteria that you had created, you like the client is getting the update if like something new joins that search criteria, but you're like opting out of it because you're like, why do I need to do this whenever you can just go in and look at it yourself and you don't want like 10,000 emails and
Exactly. And that's what I found was it's just like while it's cool to see that, hey, something new popped up, and yeah, it's a great way to say, like, reach out to them, hey, did you see that new property? Well, if they're not super serious and they're just open about a lot of properties, then they're going to get a lot of emails and they're not going to, move right away. And again, what I've found is we're not the ones making the decisions. They are. So while it's all great and we could say this is the perfect property for you, it hits every box that you had and that you gave me, they could say, "Oh, well, I don't like the front door. We don't want to look at it." So it's more so it's just easier to let them make that decision and then let you know what they actually like. And then the last piece is here. There's the enable concierge mode. That means that you would see all the properties before them and then approve them to send over to them. I don't do that because again, that's just more work for you. Show this contact and reverse prospecting. Prospecting. That's basically if another agent puts on a listing that is within your criteria, they can hit reverse prospecting and see that who matches with that listing. Now, they don't get your client's information, they'll get your information, and then they can reach out to you saying, "Hey, I noticed you popped up in reverse prospecting. I've got this listing that fits your criteria. Send it over to your buyer," or something like that. Like you'll start seeing those too. Um, the last piece is the schedule. So I typically, and again, this is something you want to confirm with your client because maybe they don't want to get notified ASAP, but I typically have it set as ASAP so that they're not missing any properties. And what this does is as soon as a new listing is input on the MLS and submitted, within the criteria, then it automatically will then create that email of that recurring email text, and it's going to say, "Hey, you got a new listing on here that matches." And so that could happen multiple times a day. So I definitely use that, especially for a buyer that's ready to go, because again, we don't want them to miss anything. Now, maybe they've expressed, "We're ready, but we're going to take our time, and we're thinking maybe 6 months down the road, but we still want to see what's available." Well, then maybe they're more interested in the daily or the monthly, and you can select which days it actually sends on, or you can hit monthly, and then they're just sent one email on the first of the month at midnight, and then they can look through the entire folder of or file of listings that fit their criteria. So again, that kind of depends on the client where they're at in their search. I will say 95 times out of 100, I've done ASAP, other than when the client specifically says, "No, I don't want to get that many emails." Then you hit save and it automatically starts up. And from there, if you go back to home, you'll be able to see, where is it? They changed this on me. I guess I have no portal people right now. Hmm. All right, now I'm just clicking on things. Oh, there it is. I knew I saw it somewhere. Hover over My Matrix, and then you can go to Auto Emails, and that's going to show you who currently has auto emails running. with that, like what we just went through basically. So the red ones are people that are not looking, and then the green ones are going to be people that are looking. And you can also come in here and you can adjust the criteria. You could hit criteria and go adjust that. You can disable or delete if they're not interested anymore. You can hit open in portal and see the actual, like if we hit open in portal for this one, it should show us all the listings that pop up. You'd also be able to see anything that they've hearted here. I think you can, no, you can't. Oh yeah. So you can hit saved and disliked, and then that's going to show you exactly what they've liked and disliked. So you really do still have the ability to monitor it without having to be sent the emails every time they're sent it.
Oh, okay. So that list was okay, I get it. Okay. That was all of your clients that are receiving your search criteria buckets and
Yes, and they all have different criterias there. They're all
okay.
different. What we
Sure.
just went through with by selecting the area and
Yeah.
stuff, I've done that with all of these people separately to set up this search. And this is something as easy as like hop on a Zoom call with them and set it up with them,
Oh, okay.
so that they
Yeah.
can see exactly where you're at, exactly how you're doing it. And plus, then it makes you look more professional because they're able to see exactly what you're doing. So I've definitely done that where I've hopped on a Zoom and like, hey, let's set up your search real quick so that we have everything set in stone and we're both on the same page. So what I did want to mention, one more thing here in RE Colorado, we've got like 15 minutes left. And then we'll hop into command real quick and I'll show you how to do the save search. But so, one of the things I want to mention, especially as you maybe don't have buyers that are ready to look, we have the ability to do these agent previews, is what they're called. Now, notice I mentioned Broker Bait earlier, but I forgot they were bought out by Supra. So, Supra and Showing Time are probably the two main showing services that you're going to see. Showing Time actually has a selection for what we call an agent preview. So, say for instance, there's this 540 Wenlock Court in Castle Rock. And I knew that my buyers expressed interest and they wanted to go see this property. And so we need to schedule a showing for it. So what you're going to do is you can either click into the listing here, or you can hit this emblem here for schedule a showing. When I click that emblem, it's going to pop up. Now, if you're scheduling multiple showings, you can select multiple properties. And when you hit that, then you hit add to showing cart. But for this specific one, for the agent preview, what I wanted to get to, we're going to hit schedule a single showing. Now, all your information's right there, so you can change it if you need to. Now, in here, again, this is an agent preview, so you're going to pick a time. Maybe I know I can do it this afternoon. So I come in here and I'm going to select 2:30. And then you choose the appointment type. I know that this is an agent preview. So then you're also not lying to these people that, it's not a real showing, it's an agent preview. And you could also, as you're driving over there, take a video, say, hey, can you guess where I'm going right now? Going to show homes, to show kind of that you're busy on social media, and people don't know that you're just doing an agent preview. They think you're actually showing a home. So it's just a way to kind of, still stay top of mind and that showing that you're busy. You'll choose the ending time, maybe you're going to take 30 minutes in there. And then buyer's name, you could select a buyer. You could hit, it's optional, so you don't have to put anything in there. And then you would hit request appointment. Now, I'm not going to hit request appointment because this is a go and show, which means that it's instantly going to be confirmed because it's a vacant property typically. So the other option that you would have there is it won't say go and show, it'll say appointment required. And then that one you have to wait for an actual approval versus that go and show is going to automatically send me the lockbox information and everything. So I'm ready to go basically. Now, let's jump into command real quick. So say we are not part of the RE Colorado yet, and we want to set up a safe search. And you can try this with yourself or a family member to get it set up just to kind of see what it's like. But what you do is you go to contacts. Come on, command. All right, I'm gonna pick one random one of these. Oh, excuse me. Um, so when you get into the contact card on the top right of where the timeline is, there's something called save searches. So you can come in here and you can hit create save search. So then it's just going to walk you through getting this search set up. So it's you can hit find on map, but I don't think it's as easy or as intuitive as it was like being able to draw a section. Right now, these are just neighborhoods. So I could come in and I could select different neighborhoods if I wanted to. Or you can go back and you can search by neighborhood, by zip code, by city. I wonder if, okay, so yeah, if you switch it to zip code, you're not going to have the map view. City you do, school attendance zone, you can actually search by that, or you can custom search. Ah, haha, see, there is a way, draw on map. So if you switch it to custom, then you can hit draw on map and then click to draw a line around an area. So it is exactly like RE Colorado. So you'll click up there and then maybe we know this is a section. We'll come and draw in this section here and we hit apply. And now we've got that section on the map already filled out. That's cool because that was not a feature that we had in the past. Then you'll put in your criteria, price, minimum, maximum. So maybe it's like, I don't know, 300,000 to 500,000. Now, one thing I will note about this, when if you have somebody that's expressing that they have interest and their price range is, 350 to 450, I would probably go somewhere around like 325, maybe 300 is not bad. But then if their limit is 450, you don't want to go a whole lot further than that because you don't want to show them properties that they can't afford because they're just going to love those properties, but they can't do anything about it. So I might go, if they said 450, I might go to 460 just in case because maybe there's a way that they can actually get up to that 460 range, but at least you're not going significantly over. Same thing, amenities you can check here. Again, that's questionable depending on how well the listing agent put it in. All property types. I know they're not interested in land, condos, townhomes, multifamily, apartments, foreclosures. They're just interested in houses and new construction. Then listing status, for sale, active, pending. I don't know why you'd ever be interested in pending because then you can't get the house if it's pending. But there's some people that might be interested in that. Beds, baths, you can set this criteria. So again, 3 bed, 2 bath, year built if you want to get into that. Living area if you want to get into that. Has parking, open house only, price reduced. You can select those boxes if you want. But say we're happy here, then we would hit next. Then you're going to go ahead and just title this search. Again, it's something maybe like your personal home search. The primary email, you send in the email for this. I don't think it'll ask for that email if I had an email in this contact card, but I don't have an email in this contact card. So that's why it's asking. And then you can hit send email notifications and choose how often. So instant sends within 30 minutes if there's a new listing. Daily, they could just get an email daily that goes out weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. And then once you hit create, save, search, that's going to save and they're ready to go. And it's basically the exact same thing that we did on the MLS, except it's through command. Perfect. Any
Okay.
question on that?
No, so basically, it's like what you said. The only thing that you have to, that on MLS is if you want to schedule a showing. That's what it has. And
Correct.
also, if you initially do want to, once you get there, if you want to make the listing, that has to be directly on.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were making the listing, then what you do is you hit input here. And then it's it's a long process. Once like the
Mhm.
first time you do it, it's just so much. But after you do it a few times, it's like, okay, this isn't as bad. But yeah, you're putting in all the information, which is again why you want to make sure you do as the best you can with putting in the information and the right information, not just random information, because Like I talk about, there are listing agents that don't do that, and then they eliminate a lot of potential buyers because they're not putting that in properly.
Okay. So, the agent preview thing, that was that was a social media thing, right?
That's like a social media thing, or even if you don't utilize social media, for you, like as you're new, or if you want to just go check out a property and kind of see the process of what it's like. Now, obviously, when I say this, I'm not saying go schedule a property and go try to throw a party in it or something like that, obviously. But like, if you want to just see what it's like, what the process is like, come into here, come to new listing or wherever, however you want to go, maybe price reduced. Come in and find a property. Again, like let's just do this Lakewood one. You hit the schedule a showing. It's going to tell you, all right, this is go and show. So I know this is go and show, which means it's automatically going to get approved. So then you can really plan out and you're like, yeah, I've got time this afternoon starting at 2. Let's schedule this for 2:30. So you hit schedule a single showing. You'll come in here, it'll tell you if it's available. You'll hit the box next to the 2:30. And then that's going to pop up here. And so I can see here, okay, well, I can minimum 15, maximum 2 hours. Well, I probably know that it's going to take me maybe 30 minutes. Or if you know you're just going to be in and out because of the purpose that you just are literally going to go walk through it real quick, then you hit agent preview and you keep it at 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, however long you think it's going to take you. For agent preview, I probably wouldn't go further than 30 minutes just because again, it's an agent preview, so it's not like you're actually showing clients that may want to be there longer. And then again, you can add your buyer if you want, but then you hit request appointment. Because this is a go and show, if I hit request appointment right now, it's going to then automatically go approve. It'll give me the green light. I'll get an email from showing time saying, here's the information for showing. It'll tell you, take off shoes, whatever it might be, whatever showing instructions the listing agent put in. It'll tell you the time of your showing. It'll tell you the lockbox information so you know how to actually get in the home and you'll have everything ready to go and so that you can go be there by 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's again, like I utilized it so especially during COVID, I utilized it during COVID to kind of show that I was staying busy, whether or not it helped or not, but I was able to at least have some sort of content to post on social media.
Oh, so then you're able to, are you, you're not, I guess, maybe dumb question for someone.
There's no dumb questions.
Then when you're previewing it as like a walkthrough on social media, because like then you're going through with like your phone, right? And recording.
Yeah, I mean, I might take a recording. Like the thing you got to be careful of is you can't put too much in there so that people can recognize essentially what listing it is, if that makes sense.
Exactly, because then you're when you're putting on post social media, you're just like saw a beautiful home and can you mention like a neighborhood? Or you just keep
Yeah, or
it
like a city or something. Like, I think, the thing is, the
image.
people on the other end of social media that are going to see your post, they're not going to call you out on your BS. Like, you weren't showing somebody that home. You were just doing a preview. They don't know.
Yeah.
So they just know that, or they see the post and they're like, oh, look, she's busy doing some real estate stuff. And so again, that's where like I'm not just going to schedule any home. I might look at the home first to see exactly what it looks like, and then I know, okay, maybe there's something good that I can get in there. Or you'll be surprised and find, some random picture that you like or something. Um, but like I've been to homes where they had, like a green feature system where their entire septic system was like its own. They had this giant metal container at the bottom and they basically burned their own stuff, their own uh
Oh yeah. Their
yeah.
own sewage, like yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Their own sewage and it was like a green feature, and they had all these things in the supplemental documents about how this was put in this house specifically, and it's supposed to be really good, but yet like it was also blocked off on one of the toilets. So I didn't like it was interesting, but you take a picture of that and be like, can you guess what this is? Or
Oh, okay.
if you're driving up there, obviously safely take a quick picture or a quick video of like heading up to a showing, guess where I'm going, and then show the surrounding area as you're driving or something. Like just to show that you're doing something out there. Again, you don't want to take a picture of the front page of the listing that shows the address and everything because it's not. without permission of saying, hey, can I market this? Then you got to be careful with that. Now, if you know, like you see a beautiful home and you want to go do an agent preview and then create some social media content from it, you could call the listing agent and say, hey, I want to schedule a showing or an agent preview on here. Do you mind if I take a video and post it on social media if I give you credit for the listing? And again, like 99 times out of 100, they're going to be like, heck yeah, go ahead, do that because it's more exposure for their listing to get it, to give them a better chance to sell. So, but you have to do that with getting permission. You can't just go ahead and go do it on your own. And, that's not something you can ask for forgiveness, not permission. Not when you want to ask for permission first.
Okay.
So. Awesome. Any other questions on the command save search or any of this other
No,
stuff here?
I think that right now I think that that's a pretty good like I was wondering about some of those things, but I think that right now that that's a pretty good like overview and yeah.
Yeah,
Um
and if tomorrow you're like, hey, I actually was thinking about doing an agent preview, but I can't remember what you said. Let me know, and I can help walk you through it again.
okay.
So yeah, don't stress yourself about that. But it's just a great way to kind of get your feet wet in the showing world a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. You have a good rest of your day. Are you coming in today?
I actually am. That's what my kid came in and I was like, I'm in something, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna drop them at the pool and then do something. Are
Hey.
you around this afternoon there, or is today not a good day? What I
I
was gonna
should be around at least until like 3-ish, I'm thinking. Let me check. I know I have bum, bum, bum. I've got a meeting today from 11:30 to 12:30, and then after that I'm pretty open, but I am probably gonna leave around like 3-ish today.
Okay.
But then I'll
Okay.
be here all day tomorrow as well, and I've only got one meeting going on tomorrow.
Okay. I think that I might pop in, let's see, they're probably not gonna be at the pool for more than I might pop in at 1,
Okay.
um, after, they get done doing or yeah, because you're 11 to 12:30. Yeah. So maybe like 1.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Cool.
that works.
All
I'll see
right.
you then.
All right. See ya. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.